Guys, it is your girl Cadillac Dixon. I'm the drama life prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping, because you got to hold your breath for justice, to see justice before all fades to black. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac coming through. It is now December the 28th, 2025. Oh, gotta get off work. Gotta thank God. Got a headache. Feel lightheaded. I do not feel good. So this is gonna be super duper quick. I haven't been doing my Vizzo vlogs. I got thrown off my rocker with losing my cousin. Completely left field. Oh, I feel like the enemy just sucker punched me, honestly, because we so thought he was healed. Well, in a physical manner, in a like spiritual manner, I think he was healed. In physical manner, that his body was not healed. Um, so it almost feels like we kind of let our guard down in that one moment, that one little small moment is when the devil came through and just boom, completely unexpected. But there's even a blessing in that, because the time that I would have expected something like that was actually at the time that they were doing the transplant. Like, for him to make it through the transplantation. I literally thought the worst part had passed. So it was unexpected. But I thought about it tonight. Had he passed, say he went in for the transplant and he passed during the transplantation, right? Because what happened is he came out successful with the transplantation. It is the aftercare, or allegedly uncare, that caused infection that took his life. So it almost felt like that was worse. Like, how do you get past the worst part and then. But I thought about it if it happened the other way. If he had a pass during transplantation. And this is back to my testimony, because I either fight for justice or I just tell you my testimony, the things that I've been through. And this is what I'm going through now. And in the end, this will be a testimony, and all glory be to God um, when we come out on the other side. But I thought about had it been flipped and he passed during the transplantation. So he literally made it a month and 4 days past the transplantation, right? So that was a whole month that we were able to talk about the situation. And what's crazy is that God gave me the chance to witness to him right before he passed. And I'm like, now I'm so glad we had that conversation because wow. And not that I even feel like I was telling my daughter that I really want to do prison ministry, but I'm like, I don't even know how to talk. I can't I can't do that. Like I wouldn't even know how to minister like that. But even my fumbling mouth, like I was telling Marcello today at Vizzo about my cousin Vinny. I don't know if anybody's seen that movie, but I love that movie. I love a good prison movie. I'm sorry, y'all. I know. But I indulge a lot in injustice and wrongful convictions. It just has a spot in my heart. So I was telling him about the story of my cousin Vinny, which is a comedy about a wrongful conviction. Well, a wrongful arrest, right? But in the movies, they overcome it. They're home and everything works out happily ever after. Um, and it was two. It was the public defender that came through and was basically like seemed like he had it all together, and then he gets into court and he stutters. So he's like, and he barely got a word out. And then after, he's like, I think I did pretty good. Like, and also, cousin Vinny, he was the mess up. He was the one that failed the bar several times. He was the one that basically was messing up every step of the way. So cousin Vinny, in the end, wins the wrongful conviction case. Well, it wasn't wrongful conviction. It ended up being wrongful arrest, but got the person off before they had to be wrongfully convicted. And side note, wrongful convictions usually are no shorter to overturn them than 10 years. Some take lifetimes and some are not even overturned within their lifetime. Some are overturned post mortem, and it's just a big mess. So he defied the odds, couldn't even hardly do nothing straight, but you know. And then the public defender who couldn't hardly even talk, how he was going to defend somebody. But I feel like those two characters, like if I'm going to like witness and I just get up there like the man was, blah, blah, blah. Because it feels like sometimes, like even I was telling Marcello with my videos, when I sit down and I write my notes, that stuff be so on point. That is just the Holy Spirit just flowing through me to the pen. But when I try to speak and I do a video like now where I'm just putting the phone in my face and I'm just talking, I get off track, I ramble, I have, I'm dealing with attention deficit stuff. So I be all over the place. And I can see the difference in my videos versus we just chopping it up, or I really wrote some notes and structuring this out. So I feel like I really want to do prison ministry, but I'm like, but Lord, I can't speak. I don't know how to talk. Like, I communicate through art. He gave me these beautiful gifts of art, poetry, and I communicate through creating, but actual verbal communication. So I desire to do it, but I'm not good at it. And it's crazy that right before my cousin passed, I was able to basically like minister to him. And it was so different. It was so different. Like, I literally grew up in a church, and that doesn't really mean nothing. It does, but it doesn't mean anything. But I always had a zeal for God. Like, I literally, since I was a kid, right? Even though I'm realizing we didn't even know the things we really supposed to be knowing. We learn things that are incorrect. We so much, right? But it was a foundation. And I used to all the time try to get him to go to church. Go to church with me. Not that going to church too is going to do anything, but sometimes it does. It does. I mean, it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's not what it really was intended to be. Church has become like Life Jennings say, it become an effing fashion show. Like, I love Life Jennings. But at the root of it, what it was supposed to be, right? But he would never, like, he did as a little kid, but as he got older, it got harder and harder and harder to get him to church. And if he came, he would quickly, he's out of there. And I would be like, well, you ain't going to this place until we got to go to church first. And then we going to go, you know what I'm saying? And his answers, like, you could kind of talk to somebody and see where their mind at. And his answers then versus this time, he was receptive. He was, because we were even talking about the Bible. And everybody knew I grew up in a church, right? But like I said, it means something, but it doesn't, right? So on that last long conversation, which I'm grateful for that, Lord. So if he had a passed during the actual surgery, we wouldn't have had that long conversation tying up every single loose end almost in our, you know, relationship. But he was so different. And I was honest. I was telling him about I feel like my awakening started at age 40 when I just screamed out to the Lord, what is wrong with me? Because I knew something, my whole life, I knew something was wrong. I get hate for love. I get, I can't do nothing right. I get, you know what I'm saying? I did not understand it. And when I screamed out asking for answers, the Lord started downloading little by little, letting me know, just like this, figuring out about, oh, you have ADHD. You show signs of dyslexia. You weren't just crazy. You weren't just this or that. You weren't just broken. You have actual issues. Now that we know the issues, we can work on them. So he started like putting pieces together in my life. And I was telling my cousin about that. And I don't think we didn't have that. I don't think we ever had that conversation. And I was like, you know what? To be honest, I was saying that, and actually advises against this, but I felt the need to start reading the Bible from beginning to end. Like a first run through, straight through, not go to this verse, then go to that verse and skip around, or the open the Bible and read wherever it lands on and things like that. Like, I'm like, this is a story. Most stories, most books, you're not just randomly all over the place. You're reading it through. Like, I can do that later, but let me really read through it, right? And then beyond that, I gotta start. You gotta actually study it, like breaking down the words and things like that. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like up until when I screamed out for answers, that was 40. So it literally 40 years, over 30 something years of being in a church and not really knowing more. Not really. And not really a lot of people that allege that they, you know, believe in God, and like they don't even take time reading the Bible. And I can admit that was me. I would say I believe it's in the Bible. I believe everything that's in the Bible. But how can you believe and you don't even know everything? We know the basic Bible stories, the basic ones. But going straight through, and I was really confessing that to him. I was like, no, I think we need to know it. I think we really need to know this Bible. And my cousin was like, well, I believe it, but I don't know that I have to really know the whole Bible like that. Like, I believe is each person's personal relationship with God. And I'm like, no, but I think we really need to know what's in it. And I was like, I've said for so long that I believe, but believe what? You can't just say I believe the Bible and that's it. You need to know what's in it. You have to study to show thyself approved. And I couldn't even believe we were having that that conversation, honestly, because usually we didn't have conversations like that, right? And but now I think about it, I'm like, hold on, he was fully blind. How am I telling him he has to read straight through it? I realized that later, but it's crazy. So I do know that I am a work in progress, and I probably have been holding up the progress. But I do hope to get to that point where I could, minister to actually be like, that's why I'm starting with my testimonies. I don't know if they're helping. I don't know if I'm helping anybody. I don't know if any stories I've ever shared with anybody has helped. But they may have. What if that one conversation with my cousin, not knowing he was there at the end of this life? I'm glad we had that conversation because I don't know. I really believe it could have made a difference. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. I'm going to go lay down. It's been a draining week. It's been hard working all week. My cousin has really been heavily on my mind. It's not an easy loss. I know that God knows best. God had this all, it's all in His plan and in His timing. But I'm still a human and it's still hard to wrap my mind around it. So I'm going to go lay down, and Lord's willing, I'll be getting up in a few hours, getting ready for Vizzo with the grandkids. But I literally, all right, guys, it's your girl Cadillac.